guys, I wanted to hop on and do a quick product spotlight on Classical Conversations math flashcards. In classical education, math is approached from the grammar level as a language. And in the language of learning, math flashcards are your phonograms. Their over-practice is what allows our students to decode and read math problems easily and with minimal frustration. So how can these flashcards help you and your family? The flashcards that we've had for a little bit are the addition set and the multiplication set. I want to take a second just to show you how CC presents these flashcards and their format. So you can see on this first flashcard, all of our cards start with zeros and go all the way through the 15s family, and they utilize the commutative law. So in this case, 0 doesn't help us demonstrate much. But if I were to go to the center of the deck, we have 9 plus 12 is the same as 12 plus 9. This is helping reinforce for our students that commutative law of addition, that A plus B equals B plus A. Then the answer to this card is in gray in the top corner on the opposite side. So 9 plus 12 is the same as 21 or equal to 21. The opposite side of the card also has a math fact on it. In this case, 1 plus 12 equals 12 plus 1, demonstrating that commutative property again with the answer to that on the opposite corner. So that is how our additions flashcards are formatted. And our multiplication flashcards are formatted in a very similar style. Starting at the zeros and going all the way through the 15s, our cards have the commutative law for multiplication, stating that A times B equals B times A. And that answer is in the opposite top corner. So for 9 times 13, that is 117. And for 1 times 13, the answer is 13. The two new sets of flashcards that just released at the beginning of this month are fractions and notations. When I first heard about fractions, I wasn't entirely certain what to expect. And when I was able to receive these as a product sales specialist and open them up and take a look at them, I was beyond excited at what CC has for us. The first part of the fraction flashcards works with formatting. So we have examples of A, B, and that's going to indicate ratio. So the answer, or what you're asking your student to give information on, is if numbers are written in this order, what is that format called? And on the back we have ratio. It also indicates that A would be the antecedent and B would be the consequent. So again, we're really focusing on that language of math with our students. It goes through this in several different formats, including here you can see the N is a dark black color and the D is gray, indicating that they want you to identify what N stands for, and your answer on the back is numerator. Similarly, on this side, the N is gray and the D is black, and on the reverse, the answer that you're looking for is the denominator. So there are different formats for these flashcards that will help your student identify with fluency what they're looking at. Especially like the 4 forms of rational numbers are fractions, ratios, decimals, and percentages. And this format is actually used on further cards. So let's get into those. What I expected to see, because that was not in the fractions, was this. I expected to see some pie charts. So here you have the entire pie chart is gray. What does that indicate? That indicates a whole, or a ratio of 1 to 1. A fraction of 1 over 1, a ratio of 1 to 1, a decimal of 1.0, and 100%. And so you have that different formats that the flashcard is indicated in. And these pie charts go all the way up to, I believe, tenths with that indicated. And again, on one side, you're gonna have, what am I looking for here? How many pieces are there altogether? 8. How many are shaded? 1. Okay, what are the 4 ways that we can write that rational? We can write it 1/8 as a fraction, 1 to 8 as a ratio, 0.125 as a decimal, or 12.5%. Once you hit the tenths, the format changes from the pie chart to a bar graph. And you proceed to have different presentations of that for your student to identify even up unto the 1/100th and the 1/1000th demonstrations. Another offering that the fraction flashcards, try saying that 5 times fast, offers is equivalencies, or greater than's, less than. So you're looking at the different comparisons there, and your student is supposed to say which one is greater, which one is less. Another thing that I expected to see in here is reductions. So you have flashcards that have fractions on them that the students are prompted to reduce. And the answer for that reduction is going to be on the opposite side of the card. There's a selection of cards within the flashcards, fraction flashcards, that also have individual instructions at the bottom of the card. So for this, the instruction for 80 would be name the divisors, and then your student would go through and list 1 times 80, 2 times 40, 4 times 20, 5 times 16, and 8 times 10, and those are indicated on that back right there. And there are various presentations. They're not just simple fractions to reduce. You have a division equation format there. You have another name the divisors there. You have some instructions to simplify and to translate to the decimal equivalent. So again, just practicing those different skills with your students. Then the last section of the fraction flashcards is equivalencies. And so they have how many months are in a year, how many seconds are in a minute, how many minutes are in an hour, how many hours are in a day, etc. And I think the metrics are on the back, metric and imperial system both. So that is just a glimpse of the fraction flashcards and what that means to have fraction flashcards and what your student would be practicing in those. I have had conversations with families in regards to, well, how much of the flashcards do I practice each day? As much as is beneficial to you and your student without frustrating them. For my 6th grader, the multiplication she needs practice on is 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. She doesn't need to practice her 2s and her 5s and her 0s or 10s. So find a selection of flashcards that is challenging but doable for your student, and then build onto that stack as they accomplish it. The last set of flashcards that CC is offering is the notation set, and this is the one that I was probably the most excited about because I could wrap my head around it a little bit easier than what was to come with the fractions before I knew what they were. And the notations is exactly that. It's just math symbolism, and it's creating those pegs for our students so that they have confidence when they encounter this math symbolism in their work, in the same manner that we have our 4-year-olds present in community so that they are confident when they present in front of groups as they are older. We introduce material that we are working with them at a grammar stage of the memorization of the terms and the definition, that as they grow and expand in their math capabilities, they will become dialectic and rhetorical in. So one of our symbols, 3 dots. Do we know what that means? That means therefore, or a consequence of. The answer is on the back side. On this side, we have the dot is dark and the numbers are gray. This is a radix point. It divides whole places from fractional places, called a decimal point in base 10. Other symbolisms include infinity or the ellipsis, plus and minus, as well as double negatives. What is this? My kindergartner is going to know this, and I didn't learn this until college. There exists a unique. And so we have this encouragement where we're equipping our students above and beyond even what we had in our education, and equipping them to have such a healthier relationship with math, because these are not foreign concepts by the time that they are applying them. They've studied them and they've memorized that information in advance of needing to apply it, so it's not a big scary thing. Anyway, these are the sets of flashcards that CC has to offer, and I hope that this little video was helpful to you and encouraging to you and inspired you to love learning and to lead in your learning and to seek God in everything that He has created, including math.